In Switzerland, bunkers are ubiquitous, hidden deep within mountains, cliffs, and villages, serving as a unique strategy for the country. With nearly 10,000 bunkers scattered throughout the nation, Switzerland's neutral stance doesn't stop it from being prepared for potential threats. These bunkers, often concealed behind unassuming doors in the forest, serve as a testament to Switzerland's historical approach to security. Instead of forming alliances and sending troops, the Swiss opted to dig deep into their mountains and cliffs, creating an extensive network of fortresses. These bunkers are strategically placed, with some perched on cliffs, ready to defend the country against invading forces. The bunkers range in size and sophistication, with some being massive complexes extending kilometers into the mountains. They are equipped with sleeping quarters, hospitals, showers, and giant generators providing electricity. The entrances are fortified with thick layers of concrete, making them nearly impregnable. Not only are there bunkers in the mountains, but there are also hundreds of thousands of bunkers dug under Swiss homes, further emphasizing the Swiss commitment to remaining neutral and prepared. The presence of these bunkers reflects Switzerland's readiness for any potential threats, even though the country has a sense of security due to its neutrality. As the world becomes more dangerous, Switzerland is re-evaluating the significance of these bunkers. The debate centers on what these bunkers represent in the face of evolving global challenges and what it means for Switzerland to maintain its safety, security, and neutrality in this changing world. The Swiss have a long history of digging into their mountains and creating underground fortresses and bunkers. This capability became crucial in the 1940s when Switzerland found itself surrounded by fascist regimes during World War II. To maintain their neutrality, the Swiss embarked on an ambitious project. They turned the entire Alpine region, a significant part of their country, into a vast fortress of redoubt, with the aim of making it an impenetrable defense against potential invaders. This strategy was unique as it involved creating a network of fortifications, tunnels, and bunkers that spanned the entire region, rather than just a single fortress. This extensive system of fortifications became known as the biggest fortress in Europe. It was designed to withstand any potential attacks or invasions and protect the Swiss population. The network included various types of bunkers, such as those hidden behind ordinary-looking barns and mountainside doors. The strategy behind this extensive system is a bit paradoxical and unique. Switzerland, a neutral nation, took significant measures to ensure its defense and security. The Swiss wanted to be prepared for any scenario, even though they aimed to stay out of the war. Their fortifications were intended to serve as a deterrent, preventing potential aggressors from choosing to invade Switzerland. Switzerland's defense strategy during World War II was heavily focused on its natural geography, particularly the formidable mountain ranges. Switzerland's mountainous terrain served as a natural defense, as it was challenging for any invading army to move troops and equipment across these mountains. The Swiss created a network of fortifications and bunkers, especially at the mountain passes, which were considered choke points or gateways through the Alps. These passes, while traditionally used for trade and transportation, became liabilities in times of conflict, as they could serve as gateways for invading forces. The Swiss strategy involved focusing their defense on these choke points and mountain passes. The bunkers and fortifications were positioned strategically to control and defend these passages. In case of an invasion, Swiss soldiers could retreat to these bunkers and use their artillery to protect the narrow, easily defensible mountain passes. The Swiss military maintained a strong presence in these fortified locations, ready to engage any invading forces and prevent them from advancing further into the country. This strategy aimed to make an invasion of Switzerland too costly for potential aggressors. The Swiss historian and artillery gunner in the video provided insights into how these fortresses and bunkers were used to defend the mountain passes during World War II. Switzerland's strategy leveraged its natural terrain and created an extensive system of fortifications to safeguard its borders and maintain its neutrality. In the context of Switzerland's defense strategy during World War II, the country was encircled by Axis powers after France was defeated in the summer of 1940. Switzerland, faced with this dire situation, implemented an emergency solution known as the redoubt. The redoubt was essentially a fortified stronghold, strategically positioned in the mountains, especially at crucial mountain passes, to serve as a last line of defense against potential invaders. To illustrate this strategy, you can use a seemingly ordinary Swiss house in a mountain pass as an example. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes apparent that the house is actually a solid concrete structure designed to resemble a chalet. The windows are painted on, and there are gun holes strategically placed for defense. Moreover, the house is part of a network of tunnels and bunkers built underneath the surface. The logic behind this strategy was to create a formidable defense line in the mountains, primarily focused on key passageways. By fortifying these mountainous regions, Switzerland aimed to signal to potential aggressors, such as Hitler and Mussolini, that if they wanted to invade and connect their empires, they would have to go through the Alps, facing highly protected and well-defended positions. The goal was to make any invasion attempt incredibly costly and nearly impossible. It's important to note that while these bunkers and fortifications were a part of Switzerland's deterrent strategy, other factors also played a role. Switzerland maintained a policy of neutrality and engaged in economic dealings with the Nazis, allowing them to store money and stolen goods in Swiss banks. This multifaceted approach contributed to Switzerland's ability to remain uninvaded during World War II, with the bunkers serving as a physical manifestation of the country's commitment to defend its borders at all costs. In the post-World War II era and during the Cold War, Switzerland continued to prioritize its strategy of having secure defensive structures. While the mountain bunkers were designed to deter a ground invasion and defend key mountain passes, the focus shifted to the urban areas, including cities and residential homes. Instead of building massive mountain fortresses, Swiss homes were equipped with specialized bunkers in their basements. These bunkers served as shelters for the civilian population in the event of a nuclear or conventional conflict during the Cold War. These residential bunkers had features such as thick doors and filtered ventilation systems to provide a safe space for the occupants. Switzerland's approach during the Cold War was rooted in the idea of stay and defend. While many other countries built nuclear fallout shelters and bunkers, Switzerland aimed to provide its citizens with the means to remain in their own homes and withstand a potential conflict. In this way, the Swiss population could take shelter in their personal bunkers while still staying close to their homes and communities. This unique approach reflects Switzerland's commitment to maintaining its neutrality and providing security for its citizens during times of uncertainty. It's also a testament to the country's long history of preparing for various types of threats, whether from a ground invasion during World War II or the potential nuclear threat during the Cold War. The recent events, particularly Putin's invasion of Ukraine, have indeed reignited discussions about Swiss neutrality and its approach to national security. In response to the increased global tensions and conflict in Ukraine, people in Switzerland are reconsidering the importance of bunkers and physical safety. The government is inspecting existing bunkers to ensure that they are well equipped and functional. The situation has also sparked a debate about Swiss neutrality. Switzerland has a long-standing tradition of neutrality and did not take sides during major conflicts such as World War II. However, the government's decision to adopt EU sanctions against Russia in response to the Ukraine crisis has raised questions about the country's neutrality policy. Some argue that by imposing sanctions, Switzerland is indirectly taking a side in the conflict, which challenges its neutral status. Swiss President Ignazio Cassis emphasized that exceptional times demand extraordinary actions. Many individuals perceive participation in sanctions as a substantial departure from their long-standing policy, which has upheld their neutrality and peace for nearly 2 centuries. There are varying opinions among political parties on the matter. Some advocate for a more adaptable approach, while others, particularly the more traditional parties, argue that neutrality involves refraining from involvement, not affiliating with any groups, and providing assistance in an alternative manner. Switzerland has recently adopted the sanctions imposed by the European Union, effectively categorizing the nation as a party involved in the conflict. However, there is dissent, with many, including the president, expressing their disagreement with this decision. In countries where neutrality isn't as deeply rooted, people often advocate for taking a clear stance. Switzerland has a distinct perspective on what is right and weighs the implications of aligning with one side in a conflict versus the benefits of maintaining impartiality. It's worth noting that Swiss citizens themselves appear to favor the preservation of their country's neutrality. The Swiss think through everything very, very thoroughly. They have thought of everything to guard against anything, from minor pitfalls to major threats. It's an astonishingly well-run, orderly, safe society.